Now, normally I don't post videos on Sunday, and usually just try to do them on either on specifically on Mondays and Fridays, or if I miss them, on Saturdays and Tuesdays. But this is just it needs to be talked about as of this moment, because in my own state of Washington, some guy, a 69-year old that gone by the name of Wilhelm von Spraunsen, which is kind of funny. That sounds something more like a name for an actual Nazi. Was carrying a rifle and was shot dead by ICE, who because of the fact that he was throwing Molotov cocktails at an ICE detention center on Saturday morning. Now, fortunately, he could not light the damn thing on fire because it was a concrete fucking building. Oh man, every time even when they are when these guys are trying to be terrorists, or aside from beating people up as a huge mob like how they did with Andy Ngo a week or two ago, they are still horrible at it. They remind me before of the Symbionese Liberation Army. Now, they did commit their own amount of heinous acts, but one time I actually remember that there was a 2-hour standoff, and I think it was San Francisco, between San Francisco police and the Symbionese Liberation Army. Few thousand bullets were fired upon against these guys, which led to the death of 6 members of the SLA, and not a single shot from the SLA managed to hit anyone. I mean, I'm not even kidding, not anyone, not even the accidental bystander or a reporter who was reporting on the issue at hand. This is why I think that these commie groups are would be so easily defeated if they try to come up with an uprising. The only reason why they have such a major influence right now is not just because of the radicalization, but because not really many of these governments, not many of our elected officials are doing anything. I've said that about Ted Wheeler. I think he's completely ridiculous, and it's even would be considered conspiracy to support Antifa, which is a domestic terrorist organization. So I'm getting a little off topic, but let's continue on here, because what happened was that he was killed since he was throwing Molotov cocktails. I already said that before. He also sent out a manifesto, and and apparently this is just over the. This was obviously over the issue about comparing ICE detention centers to concentration camps, which it's always been ridiculous to hear about, especially when it comes to the people who write this shit on Twitter. Because the last time I checked, people do not come into the United States hoping to get arrested. In fact, many of them hope for a better life, including illegal immigrants. And even when they are caught, they are definitely treated very very appreciatively. Number 2, they have the opportunity to voluntarily deport themselves if they are caught. They can voluntarily get out of the camps, just go back to the country that they came from, like say maybe Mexico or something, and that would be it. That would be the entire issue would be settled. And finally, last time I checked, and this is in major conflict with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, how he says that concentration camps hold people without trial. If that's the case, then these detention camps are doing a stunningly poor job, because they, on the taxpayers' dime, allow illegal immigrants to be judged on a trial, which is why they are holding them temporarily at the detention center. Now, there was a recent there was a recent visit by Vice President Pence, which to one of these detention centers, and it was obvious that it was overcrowded. A lot of these illegal immigrants have been saying no shower, no shower, and of course, this was in effect due to the massive amount of overpopulation within these detention centers. These detention centers are having trouble. Hell, in one of the pictures of Summit News, and it's a right-leaning news. I'm going to be showing a lot more of sources aside from this. It shows a picture of a huge group of men within their 20s or 30s, overly populated as a result. Just, and I think a lot of this exaggeration and of just comparing detention centers to concentration camps, and especially a lot of the lies and fake news about them, is encouraging a lot of this radicalization and encouragement of political violence and terrorism, like Wilhelm actually considered. And this is not the end of it, because my own governor, and I cannot believe he is our governor, Jay Inslee, has basically said that we all said in its own words right here, we know at this moment there is tremendous anxiety in our community. We know there is tremendous anger about the inhumanity going on at the border. I know seeing children in cages, as we have seen, is extremely heart-ending to all of us. I know that at the moment we have to hope that we can remain calm. And come on, you fucking idiots. Have you seen these guys? What they did to Andy No? And this wasn't even about... That wasn't even about the whole issue with the detention camps and just comparison of concentration camps. That was just him exposing Antifa for their lies of being a peaceful group and just trying to resist the president and fight against fascism. He exposed them for what they are: censorship people with a mob-like mentality that occasionally goes on to commit violence against anyone who is the right of Karl Marx. The fact that he is not even condemning this issue is heartbreaking to me. Because as a governor, he should be on board. He should be on board with dealing with the issue of terrorism, at the very least in the state of Washington, the same state that I reside in. That's why many people elected him. Now, personally, I didn't elect him, but because I did not vote for the guy, I voted for his opponent. But nonetheless, as the residing governor of the state of Washington, it is his duty to protect the citizens of Washington State, no matter if they're Democrat or Republican. And considering that this guy attacked an ICE detention center, which would be considered an attack against the federal government as well, since it's ICE that we're talking about, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security, I might add. The fact that he's not willing to do that speaks volumes of his character. It speaks volumes of the Democratic Party's character. Again, all this is doing is just trying to cover for Antifa committing acts of terrorism on our own soil. Now, thank God that this guy was shot before anybody got hurt. Thank God. But a lot of violence has been happening, especially when it came to stuff related to Antifa. I mean, like I said before, Andy No is one of those people, but this has been a major issue since 2017. They threatened to attack Trump's supporters, and even Donald Trump during his inauguration. They attacked many conservative speakers and even threatened people in terms of when they were going to Berkeley. they fight against the Proud Boys, who more often, from my understanding, and this is just from my understanding, are the ones defending themselves. They're the ones that consistently dog people who oppose him, who expose them for the terrorists that they are. And of course, they go on to try to take over, try to take easy access to, try to take over a lot of these cities so easily, because a lot of these governments are, a lot of the local governments are apparently in support of them, even if their people aren't. Which is sickening to me. I hope to God that the issue of domestic terrorism is addressed, because we need to figure out a way to deal with Antifa and a lot of these leftist attacks against people. Because the last time I checked, terrorism, whether it be right-wing or left-wing, is not okay in this country. In fact, it should be condemned and denounced. The fact that a lot of people, especially in liberal states such as Washington here, that are not really doing too much about it, again, it speaks major volumes. But I pray to God that as time goes on, especially in that the situations concerning Antifa is exposed to the general public more and more, especially in liberal states like Washington. I really hope to God that one day these liberal states finally gain some balls and finally do something to defeat these domestic terrorists. My name is Noah, me and on the Arc Truth. Fuck you, Antifa, and fuck any domestic terrorists out there.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.